Let's give it a little bit. Manser, do you have a microphone handy today? All right, I'm going to unmute you. So just, you might want to go mute yourself in case you're prone to swearing left and right. Bubkey, I'll record this one. I had an audio glitch in the last one. All right, it's 9 a.m. Matt, are you here? Can you check in?
Hey, I'm here.
All right, you're on the right headset too. We're good. Okay, let's get this party started, people. Good morning. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Time. It is April 30th in the year 2021. This is the Splinterlands Ask Me Anything. The person who is currently speaking is Aggroed. I'm one of the two co-founders of Splinterlands. And of course, the other founder or co-founder is Yabep Matt. Matt, do you want to say hi?
Great to be here.
So we like to go through a bunch of questions. This week, sometimes like you guys will ask a ton of questions. Sometimes you guys won't ask any questions, and we never know what we're walking into when we get here. But I guess fortunately, there's a whole bunch of questions that have already been asked before we even started this thing. So let me scroll up a little bit here, and I'm gonna work our way down because there are. I don't know. You guys suddenly all opened up and got all curious. So question, open for slight interpretation is some are questionable, but with my count of all the summoners, 6 are looking left, 6 center, and 29 are looking right. My question is, what is over to the right that is causing everyone to look that way when they have their photo drawn? Yeah, I don't know. That's hilarious. I guess we can start asking for more people to look to the left. Any thoughts on what might be over there, Matt?
I don't know. That's a good question for the character artists, I guess.
Yeah, I hadn't counted. I hadn't looked for that perspective, but that's pretty funny. Thanks, Junukio, for counting that off. Question for the AMA. I know it's been brought up before, but after a discussion with some new players yesterday, I wanted to bring it to attention again. Right now, players buy a spellbook, and after playing for a day or two, they reach bronze when they're matched with decks that are often a lot stronger than the starter decks. This is really demotivating. I know expanding novice to 3 or at least 2 leagues is not a priority right now, and that would need a lot of rebalancing. But I would argue to move it up on the priority list to make the experience for those who are starting out a bit more fun. Meanwhile, it might be an idea for the devs to put in a lot more mediocre bots with starter decks that play in bronze 3-2 than they currently have. So these new people don't get the feeling that they're already drowning after 2 days of playing and leave. So I'm not sure that that's a question per se, but Matt, any thoughts on, I guess, the new player experience down at the novice levels?
Yeah, I mean, well, I agree that's something we want to address. I'm not really sure expanding Novice League to more leagues is necessarily going to do anything. It seems to me, I haven't specifically looked at it, but it's just that there's potentially not enough accounts with starter decks to play. So that, when it's looking for a battle, it tries to match people up as close in rating as possible. But if it can't, then it kind of expands out to a higher rating, range. So I think, if we, regardless of how much we expand Novice League, I guess if there's just not enough people battling there, that would still be an issue. So I think, low level bots would be a better solution for that, just to provide more liquidity at that level. Now I know some player groups were working on lower level bots to kind of help us out there. So I guess, maybe I'll follow up and see how that's going, and if that can be adjusted, to make those bots lower level or what. It's just not something I've really looked into much yet. So, I got to do that first before I can figure out what we do about it.
All right, there's a bunch of questions from Marjenko here. Why aren't we still listed or categorized on CoinMarketCap into NFTs? Question, do we have more real players as bots or than bots, I think he means? What is the ratio? Is it 50 to 50? Question, how many new players are we getting per day or per week? And is the base of real players growing faster than the bots? I have a chart up, and I'm seeing that signups per day, we are averaging for the month of April 310 signups per day, and 51 of them per day are choosing to purchase a spellbook. So as of right now, we have 82,887 total accounts, and in a couple months, we'll break the 100,000 total if we keep at that pace. For total spellbooks, we have 23,612. And then how many is that? 10? I don't know. And then in a couple months, we'll break, or within the next couple months, we'll hit 25,000 total spellbooks. So that's the current growth rate. Matt, any thoughts on the CoinMarketCap as NFTs, the ratio of players to bots, and are we is the base of real players growing faster than the bots?
Yeah, I have no idea how where CoinMarketCap gets their NFT projects. I mean, we could, I guess, see about applying to be listed there, but yeah, I don't really know anything about that. My guess is it's mostly Ethereum based projects, but we can see if there's some type of application process or whatever. I also don't have bot numbers handy, so I don't know what the ratio is. I mean, typically our ratio of players to bots, I mean, there's a lot more actual players than there are bots. But as far as games played, since bots play far more games, the ratio drops. I don't think that's changed much since I last looked at it, but it's maybe worth double checking. Yeah, and then same thing as far as the base of real players growing faster than bots. My guess is yes, because I don't think we have 300 new bots a day, or even 50 for the new players that buy the spellbook every day. But yeah, I don't have actual numbers in front of me for that.
Okay, no replay of AMA last week. Yeah, I had an audio glitch. Sorry about that. Vedev is asking, question for AMA. Before Untamed launched, I vaguely recall discussion that alpha, beta, and orb sets would be restricted from reprints, but Untamed forward could be reprinted. What's the Splinterlands official position today regarding future reprints?
Yeah, no, I don't think we're planning on ever reprinting anything.
Yeah, I don't want to. No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, maybe like in a 30-year time span, we might do like a commemorative or something. I don't 10 years of Selenia Sky, but I don't know. Stuff like that. It's not going to be like another full print run of alpha cards or something. No way.
Well, I'd also say, just in general going forward, we want to move to more of a model where, there's some type of voting system for players to make these type of decisions. And it's not just to be like, oh, what are Matt and Aggroed thinking, or what are Matt and Aggroed going to do? That's not overall the model that we want for the project. We have a lot of work to get to, a more organized and voting system that makes sense for things. But, ultimately we want it to be like, if some player submits a proposal to reprint certain cards, with whatever details they want, and enough of the player base supports that, and that's so that proposal's approved via whatever system is in place, then that happens. And if they don't, then it doesn't happen. And it's less asking us here what we want to do, and more just like getting player support, similar to like on Hive or other platforms where there's the DHF, where people can vote on proposals. So that's right now we're definitely not there, but that's where we're hoping to go.
Simply Mike is saying, I noticed earlier this week that delegatees can enter tournaments with an entry fee of up to 1,000 DEC. the dark energy crystals with the posting key alone without permission of the owner. I would really like to see that amount reduced again. Now Dave is hosting 4 tournaments a week with 1,000 DEC. And if you're not in that specific league, the DEC and the accounts I'm delegating to can be gone in no time.
Yeah, so I mean, as a result of the hacks that happened, to a number of players' accounts, I guess a couple weeks ago now, we kind of very quickly just readjusted how the active authority stuff works, in order to make sure the accounts were secure while still letting people be able to play. So that's kind of what we're going to have going forward as the new default for new accounts, that the active authority will be required and it will apply to the transactions that it currently applies to, which is just anything that will move assets out of the account. So, transferring dark energy crystals, transferring cards, and things like that. So what I think, which is a totally different use case than people, having other people play their accounts. So I think there needs to be some type of separate solution set up for that scenario, which is different than the default of just a new player coming in and, what can be done with posting authority and what can be done with active. So I think what we have currently is going to stay as far as what's allowed with posting key and active key by default. And then what I'd like to do is just add in more specific settings. So you can go into an account that you control, and using your active key, you can specify I want for my account these certain actions to require the active key, or I want to set the amount that can be spent on tournaments to this amount of dark energy crystals. So just some more fine-grained settings that players can use when they want to let other people play with their accounts and only have certain permissions. So that's just, yet another project that has just come up recently as a result of kind of the recent security incidents. So I don't have a timing or priority on those, but that's how ultimate, so for right now, I think we're going to leave things as they are because that covers the vast majority of the cases and secures players' accounts. And then at some point, hopefully in the not too distant future, I'd like to add in more fine-grained settings for people to use. Hopefully that's clear.
Marjanko is asking, the last real Splinterlands-Lands update was October 17th, 2020. When can we expect a new update? I guess we should probably publish some of the artwork that Nate has and say, here's where our current status is in terms of rolling it out.
Yeah, I mean, we can give just a quick update on the status of things. But as far as a new update, the next one will be when the first phase is ready or almost ready with more details of that. So the first phase being when you can redeem your land plot claims for the actual NFTs, stuff like that, which we hope is in the next couple months or so. So that's going to be the next real update.
Yeah, so I think we should probably release some images first, but
yeah, we can always put out teasers and just quick kind of updates on where we are with things. But yeah, we're not. I mean, there's not going to be an official update of here's what's happening until it's kind of closer to ready to go and we 100% know more details about it.
All right. Marjenko asks, in the last 6 months, we got more than 1,000 new players from 5,000.8. We scaled to 7,500 on a good day. Will the marketing model continue? Yeah, I've been working on a couple big things. I was really hoping to announce one of them today, but I guess it's going to have to wait until the next AMA. But yeah, we have one really wonderful piece of news, and then I'm working with a platform. I should have, maybe it's actually going to be ready next week. So I think I'll have 2 big pieces that should be finally ready next week. Don't hate me if I have to push back one more time, because I've been in legal with this stuff back and forth for over a month now, way more than I expected. But I'm really close, and I'm feeling pretty good that it's actually next week. So marketing models, I guess I'm going to say, are not just going to continue, but there's a couple. I got a big announcement and then another big announcement, and hopefully those are live next week. Why is botting legal here?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've talked about in the past, but haven't talked about recently. So ultimately, the whole idea of any blockchain-based game like this is that we can't make botting not legal, right? And that's exactly what you want here. So, we run the Splinterlands website, obviously, and we can, try to detect bots via who uses that or not, and potentially we could block accounts from using the Splinterlands website if we had a reason to do so. But ultimately, in order to participate in Splinterlands, you just need to publish transactions to the Hive blockchain, which is a permissionless and open blockchain. So, we really can't we can't make botting illegal. We can't prevent any people from publishing the appropriate transactions to the blockchain and participating in the game. And that's the whole point of a game like this. In a traditional game, where everything is run, it's not a permissionless blockchain that anyone can participate in, and they can just say, who can participate in the game and who can't based on whatever rules they want. And the whole point of having a blockchain-based game is that that's not possible. So, and that's a good thing. If you're in this space, that's what you want. At least I would think so. So we have no intention of trying to make botting illegal because it's not really possible in a way that would keep it as a blockchain-based game where all the transactions are public and available and permissionless. That being said, we always want to make the game mechanics work such that bots don't have any type of significant advantages over human players. And that's something we're constantly working on and trying to do. But ultimately, that's going to be a never-ending project, and there's always new things that come up in ways that bots can, take advantage of things in ways that humans can't. So, we work on updating the game mechanics or rewards or ranked ladder or whatever it is as appropriate. And again, like I was talking about earlier, down the road, we hope that it's less of a, here's what Aggroed and Matt decided to do, and more of, here's what the community decides to do, as far as adjusting those type of things. And then finally, as far as bots are concerned, even if the protocol is updated to, block certain accounts, which, we don't think would ever be a good idea, but is technically possible, like any blockchain, even, from Bitcoin on down, if the miners or whoever decides to block certain accounts, and we saw this on Steam, obviously, that can be done. And so that could be potentially done for bots, but ultimately there's no way to tell for sure if an account is a bot. So right now, a lot of the bots, are pretty simple and are very obvious to detect. But I think, if there were any measures put in place to penalize bots in any way, the code would just be updated to make them, just act the same way as any type of human player would. So there's also, there's no way to 100%, tell if an account is a bot or not. So I think it's a losing proposition. It's a never ending, kind of whack-a-mole type of thing to try to always identify or, do anything to bot accounts. So I think the better solution and the better use of time is, like I said, to just focus on making sure the game mechanics work in a way that bots don't have an advantage over humans.
Stimp 1024 is asking, can we have a setting to accept the win by surrender or not immediately? It is annoying when doing a quest to be selecting the required cards and then get the win before submitting for the quest because you don't get the quest win awarded. Actually, it might be better to require team submission to get the win. In some cases, there could be a double surrender, which isn't possible at present.
Yeah, I think that a good solution to that would just be if your opponent surrenders before you've picked your team, that the system would just allow you to go ahead and just submit your team for that battle and then count that as toward the win. It's just, it's just one of those many things that hasn't been a high priority for us to work on. And it's, not super simple to just add in. So, yeah, it's something we'd like to do, but just comes down to priorities and time.
When will the card Stealth Trader is asking, when will the card locking option be available, like Hive Power being locked for 7 days? Can we have some of the weekly tournaments be normal tourney style or best 2 out of 3 instead of 1 of 1? And since alpha cards are becoming very expensive and rare, can we have higher prizes for bronze, silver, and gold alpha tournaments?
For one, I don't have an ETA, but that's one of like 5 new things that have come up since the security incidents in the last couple weeks. So we're just working through a bunch of those, but I hope it's, you know, it's already in progress. So I hope like within, you know, the next few weeks or something that we have that available, but I can't guarantee that.
For the weekly tournaments being the bracket style, you know, that you can't just introduce one, because then the people that are 8 hours separate say, hey, that's not fair. And then the people that are 8 hours separate from them say, hey, that's not fair. So it ends up having to be like whole rotations of these things. So at the moment, I think I'm going to stick with the anytime tournaments. But again, if there's major changes that people are looking for, there is a room called tournament planning, and you guys should be going through there. And then since alpha cards are becoming very expensive and rare, can we have higher prices for bronze, silver, and gold alpha tournaments? When I did the calculations for what prizes will be, it was based off of the collection power and not based off of the price. So it's all based off of how much DEC is baked into the cards, and it's not baked into like what is the price per collection power. That wasn't considered. It's just how much collection power is baked into the cards, because that was the fairest thing that I could find for how do we evaluate how much should be in the different tournaments. So that's where that's at for now. Simply Mike is saying on point 3, I saw the payout for the bronze alpha tourney. I'm glad there's finally a bronze alpha tourney, but I don't feel like the payout is worth the investment. So
yeah, just for all these things, you know, for right now, there's the tournament discussion room or whatever, but you know, if there's enough support for a certain thing, I don't think we mind doing that. But if we're increasing the prizes for those tournaments, it has to come out of somewhere else, from another tournament type. So, you know, if there's general agreement on what that should be, I think we'd be fine with implementing it.
Yeah, and that's what that for now. Just have that discussion in there. Let's go to.
We haven't even got to the start of the AMA yet.
I see Jacko 21 at 826. How is the growth looking? Number of daily signups, spellbook purchases, etc. Any plan on extra marketing in the future? I added that earlier, but it's 310 signups per day for April and 51 spellbook purchases per day. And then, and yeah, there's a big marketing push that's planned. Hopefully, we can start the conversation about it next week. Question, why we have Diamond League with similar card limits as Champion Leagues? It doesn't really make sense to me. I love the proposal of Biz, which was same card limits as Gold, but regular level 9 instead of 8 and rare 7 instead of 6. Can this be looked upon? I guess it
can. It's come up a bunch. I guess I try to look at things more from what is the specific problem that's happening as a result of having separate Diamond and Champion Leagues, and then seeing what the solution to that problem is. The solution might be, changing the card level limits for Diamond League, but the solution might also be something different. So I don't want to just go change it because, it maybe doesn't make sense to some people. Rather, I'd like to look at what the specific issues are that are happening and just consider, what's the best solution to those. And I haven't done that yet. Maybe you guys have. I assume you guys probably have. But so that's the way that I would go about looking into that situation. And as far as like why do we have it, our thinking was that there's a big difference between people who just have potentially higher than Gold League cards, right? They might not have a max level collection, and they might not have a very, deep collection as far as, do they have the beta cards and the untamed cards and reward and promo and all that stuff. So there's we thought there was a bigger separation there between like the players with max level everything versus the players who are just, beyond Gold League. And so that's why initially those were separated into two separate leagues to separate both of those groups of players out. But if that's not working so well or causing issues, then we would look into it.
Family Man is asking, someone said there's work being done to be able to stake cards on our planet. Any news on that? That discussion is happening.
I don't know. Chris Roberts, I think, is leading that. I don't know if there's any update. I think he put in they have some type of
application.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. Application that we've submitted. So we'll see. But yeah, if we can do that, we would definitely do it. There's no downside to us. But I don't know where that stands.
Bitcoin 1134 is asking, and he's a new player, and he's messaged me, and you guys should say hi to him. But anyways, when is the mobile version going to be operational, as in events, listing more than one card at a time in the market, showing land for sale? I feel like it's missing a lot compared to the desktop, and I think speeding up mobile getting finished may also help with growth long term. Thanks for all you guys do.
Yeah, I would love that also. What keeps happening is just more and more things come up and more things get added in that just take priority over additional mobile features. And so that doesn't get worked on as much as I think anyone would like. Specifically with events and stuff in mobile, I think there's a lot of design work there. And Nate has been pretty swamped with other things, so we are potentially looking for another UI designer, to come on similar to Nate. So I hesitate to just say that here and get 5 million people messaging us that we don't have time to go through, but I guess I already mentioned that potentially if there's someone who's a good a professional UI designer, we may be able to bring them on.
Mr. Dragon is asking, why does the brawl system reward cowardice and punish those wanting to fight at the higher tier? This seems counterintuitive and against the spirit of brawling for the glory of combat. My guild was the only one willing to fight at tier 2, and we got nothing. So that sounds like it's an error, if there is one, and we should look into it.
I'll take a stab at addressing this. So for those of you who don't know what happened, at the end of the last brawl cycle, there were a few guilds who leveled up their arena to level 3, and that was enough to advance to the second tier, the 2-star brawls. Now, there were 3 guilds on the 2-star brawl level, and when a guild begins, all the guilds that are in the same tier fight against each other. For all of the 1-star guilds fight each other, all of the 2-star guilds will fight each other, all of the 3-star guilds will fight each other, etc. So we had 3 guilds on tier 2, but at the last minute, 2 of those guilds made the decision to play in tier 1 instead. I guess they were hesitant that there weren't very many guilds in tier 2 yet. So they thought they could get more crowns by staying in tier 1. And that left one particular guild, Mr. Dragon's Guild, alone in tier 2. And as a result, that guild did not get to play a brawl, because you need at least 2 guilds on a tier in order to play the brawl. And there was only that one guild. So in response to this, there's kind of 2 things that I would say. So one thing is there's a strategic decision that your guild has to make about whether or not to advance to the next tier. And you have the information available to be able to see how many guilds are on each tier. So maybe you can be saying to yourself, well, I don't think there's that many. Maybe we shouldn't advance yet. Maybe we should wait. Or, yeah, okay, maybe it's a little bit of a risk, but we're going to try it. We're going to see if we can get more crowns. So it's a strategic choice that you have to make. Brawls are, to some extent, kind of a psychological mind games that you can play with the other guilds, kind of psych each other out, build consensus, see who's going to be advancing to the next tier, etc. The second thing I would say to that is that All right, yeah, it kind of sucks to be on the receiving end of making the wrong decision there and not being able to play a brawl, and that is unfortunate. And I can understand the frustration there. But I would point out that this is a very kind of a special situation that should not happen very often. It can only happen kind of when the top guilds move on to the next tier. And once a whole lot more guilds have joined that tier, then it's not going to happen again because you'll just have a ton of guilds on that tier. And maybe some of them will choose to play lower tiers, some of them will be in the higher tiers, and the situation just won't come up again. So it's kind of a unique, unusual situation, not something that's going to happen all the time.
Can I also jump in, like maybe as a simple quick fix, the code could potentially just, if there's only one guild in a particular brawl tier, just automatically include them in the lower tier when the brawl starts.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can look at doing. That would be one solution.
Yeah, because I mean, this will keep happening as the first guilds get up to 3 stars and 4 stars. So just I know over time it should go away, but I'm thinking that hopefully be a relatively small change so that then guilds can just not worry about, oh, I'll sign up for the higher tier, and then they don't have to worry, because if no other guilds sign up, then they'll just be included in the lower tier automatically.
And
something I can look at.
And one other thing to consider here too is that the overall design is that as you go into higher and higher tiers, you earn more and more crowns for all of those matches. So it does sound like we have a little blind spot in this one particular area as you're leapfrogging up to the next set of tiers and arena levels. But in general, please do keep in mind that the entire thing is such that the higher and higher that you are competing at, the faster and more of these crowns you can be earning. So it is not the case that it is in your long-term benefit to stay at Arena 1. Maybe there's a week or two as the guilds are transitioning where that's true, but it shouldn't be for long-term at all, because all the economics push you to be at the higher levels.
Yeah, I also wanted to respond to the way the question was worded, in the sense that this is a new feature. There was an issue, and I apologize that negatively affected you and your guild, but it does not mean that the brawl system rewards cowardice and punishes those wanting to fight at a higher tier, right? So there are going to be unexpected things or issues that come up with pretty much everything we do from now into the future. That's just the case with every project. If it's the case where there's a clear issue and problem and it's not addressed for a significant period of time, then let us have it on that. But so I just don't appreciate how that question was worded, as if like the system was set up in some bad way to reward cowardice first. There was just an issue that we need to address.
It's okay. Neoxian's a good dude. All right, or Neo-Giant, depending on how you want to say that. All right, so we're at the end of questions. We got half an hour. Manser, do you want to come back on and just kind of talk us through? I know that you talked a little bit about that one part of the guild, brawl, but do you want to come back on and just sort of talk about what you're working on right now and what's up next for the guilds?
Sure, I can talk about that for a bit. I'd also like to point out there are some more questions on there. We're not at the end of the list, but I'll give an update and then we can get back to questions. So I have been focusing a lot on Brawls Phase 2. Now that we're kind of over the initial minor tweaks and adjustments following the launch, I'm looking ahead to what's going to be happening over the next couple of months. And Brawls Phase 2 consists of a few big pieces, which is we're going to be adding the barracks building and the store building and the gladiator cards. So most of the UI designs are complete for the barracks building, and I've been working on that to begin with. I have a screenshot to show you here. So let me paste this in one moment. Okay, here we go. So this is a screenshot from some of the work I was doing just today on my dev machine. What you see here is the barracks screen, and all of these graphics are pretty much finalized. So this is the way it will really look in the game. And I have a level 6 barracks here. The cool thing about the barracks is that as you level it up, it unlocks things that we're calling tactics, which are various abilities that allow your guild to do certain things, certain specialized bonuses and whatnot that are particular to brawl fights. So these tactics will only apply in brawl battles, which will make the brawls feel a bit different than ranked play or normal tournament play. And every time the barracks levels up, you unlock a new tactic. So you can see I've got 6 of the tactics unlocked here, since we have a level 6 barracks. And for the most part, the tactics stack. So all 6 of these will be active at once. And some of them do things like unlock the ability to use gladiator cards of various rarities. And others are bonuses that give you nice advantages when you're fighting in your home arena. So with the introduction of the barracks, we're going to see a distinction between the home battles and the away battles. So that's going to be an important thing to think about strategy-wise. So all of this is pretty much mostly finished. There's some UI work remaining, but it's all working on the back end and tested already. And once this is done, then I'm going to be working on the shop and gladiator stuff next. And hopefully that'll all be ready to roll out by the end of Q2. So it's looking good so far.
Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to go. I was getting chided by Moriarty here because I skipped his question. But he was asking, where is this? Question, how's the announcement of the big announcement going? Any announcement about the announcement of the announcement yet?
We're having a meeting about the big announcement thing later today. I'm very much like want to announce the big announcement, weeks ago, but I understand where some key people that are involved are coming from, and there's still some things that aren't finalized yet. But my goal is to get this announced and launched ASAP, but I don't have anything other than that we can share right now.
Yeah, but maybe this afternoon we'll come to an accord. All right. Suryu's asking, can more filter sort criteria be added for battles like health, attack, speed, and shield? They can, yeah. Just a matter of Nate or someone, designing that. But from a development side, it should be pretty easy to put in additional filtering and sorting things. Garash is asking, regarding brawls, you get crowns by winning. However, if you play in a gold foil tier, you might not have a lot of opponents and therefore not the possibility to win a lot. Would it make sense to award a win to an individual if there is no opponent? So I like the idea of just if there's no opponent, pushing them down into the lower brawl tier. But yeah, another potential option is if you're the only one in a tier, you just get crowns by default, but then you don't get to actually participate and brawl. So that's why I don't think that's as good. Yeah, I'm just trying to read the rest of the question. Sorry.
I think he's actually talking about what happens if you're in a gold foil fray, not tier.
Oh.
Needs to say there.
Yeah, I don't know. Has there been, since we made the changes to the phrase, I don't know if there's been instances where there's been no opponents, but maybe there have been still.
Yeah, I'm not too sure myself. I know that happened a few times previously. I don't know if it's happened as often since the update. Don't really have data on that. It's an interesting idea, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'd have to think about it a bit more. Think what the ramifications of that are.
But I think that wouldn't mean the guild gets fewer crowns, right? If they had a player in, or does the player participate?
there would be fewer crowns contributed overall to the guild pot that gets split amongst all of the guilds, because the size of the pot is determined by the number of players that have at least one win or draw. So if you had a few players that didn't join the gold foil phrase, there'd be less opportunity for crowns overall.
Yeah, okay. Cryptomancer is way more keyed into how all the details of the brawls work than I am. But yeah, I mean, just like all the other brawls things, we made some changes very recently. We got to see how they go, see what the new issues are, and then we'll, address them as they come up. So I don't have a specific answer to that one right now, other than, we'll see. Aggie, you want to go to the next question?
Yeah, Juno Kyo is asking question. Champ is able to play D1 until 3 days left for liquidity reasons. Is it possible to limit the +3 -36 when we play a D1 player above 3,700? I feel like it's a disadvantage to Champ and exploit for diamond ranking. Top diamonds get high rank points when beating lower Champ players and can avoid the -36 to +3. Tough climb at the top of a league, making it hard for all diamonds in the last 3 days to come close to early rank play. Not highly important, perhaps, but frustrating situations for me have occurred.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, issues, especially earlier on in the season with, certain people, not enough people up in Champion League at the time. So, again, not sure what the right solution is for that. We made some changes relatively recently, but it's just one of those things we got to look into, really identify what the root cause of the issues are and figure out the best way to handle it.
Question, is it possible for a small bonus for getting a perfect win? That's quite an accomplishment. So a perfect win where you win a match without even losing a single card.
Yeah, it's possible. I haven't really considered it, but it's definitely possible.
If nothing else, we should have like a little banner that goes across the screen that's like perfect victory.
Yeah, that would be a stat to track at the very least. Maybe achievements at some point when that gets done.
All right, did I miss any questions?
There's a bunch of people typing, so I think there might be some questions coming in.
It's all question, when voice quips? Yeah, I'll go set up a meeting with Azaria and see if we can go find where all the files are and where that's at, and see if I can push it along a little. Matt, is there something that you're particularly looking forward to in the next little bit, or is there anything that you're just generally concerned about for the game? What are your general thoughts on how we're doing as a business, as a game, as just the play is evolving? What are your general thoughts?
There's a lot of things. I mean, I'm looking forward to pretty much everything that we're working on, especially the things that we can't announce yet. I think right now we're kind of in a period. Obviously, the whole security thing was I would say set things back, but added a lot of new things that we want to do. And I think ultimately it was good that it happened and that it happened now, as in it brought up, the actual damage was relatively small, but it brought up a lot of things that we should do and will put us in a much better position going forward, as we hopefully grow the game a lot. So those are important things. But it just added 4 or 5 new development tasks that we need to work on as kind of a high priority, which is also frustrating because I want to work on the other things that, a number of which are in development or close to finished. And it also means we have a whole bunch of different, things, from a bunch of small features to a bunch of huge features that are all in various stages of being done right now. And there's a lot of non-development work that's being put into designing new things that are coming out, getting some of these big announcement things ready. So the way I see it is like a lot of stuff is in progress right now. And, hopefully around over the summertime, there's going to be a whole lot of things that just get released in kind of pretty quick succession. If that's the right word. As all these things just start getting done all around similar times. So I feel like there's going to be this big wave of stuff that's coming out pretty soon. And that's, it's a bit overwhelming right now trying to keep track of all this stuff, but it's super exciting.
All right. So Fluffy's asking, Aggroed mentioned in the Mavericks channel something about NFT shops for tribe tokens coming soon. Could you please elaborate on that? So NFT shops is something that Hive Engine is working on separately, is trying to enable any token to be able to issue their own NFTs. And I think I think sometime in May, we'll have something to show for that. And when we do show something for that, it could, the Splinter Talk token could be associated with skins and having NFTs sort of baked into that. So it's been like this multi-month process trying to figure out what the lowest hanging fruit is for that. And hopefully in the next 30 days, we'll be able to show some screens and some possibilities of what that could be. All right. I don't see more questions. Hey, Chris, do you have a mic? Are you able to say anything? I don't see him talking. Oh, he does. All right. Let's go pull Chris on here for half a second. Hey, Chris, do you want to talk at all about DYGYCON and what's coming up with that?
Yeah, DYGYCON, we've got May 22nd for the next event, Saturday, May 22nd. I'm not sure if the time has been entirely decided yet. I know we were trying to shift it a little bit, I think later in the day. There were some, I know Australia kind of got the short end of the stick last time, but hopefully we'll do something that's a little more Australia friendly. But yeah, it's got a lot of the same sponsors and booth holders coming back. We had overwhelmingly positive feedback with the last event, and yeah, we're looking forward to doing it again. We're sending out emails and getting a lot of responses from people. So haven't got into the really thick planning stages of it yet, but that's coming up in the next few weeks here.
Is there anything else that you want to add, just in terms of what you've been working on that you think that the good folks here should hear about?
I mean, I think that we have something pretty exciting coming that, it's not exciting just objectively when you hear about it. It's a documentation resource, but I think that anybody who spends any time in the Discord channel answering questions from newcomers, and I also want to say I appreciate everybody doing that all day, every day. I see you guys just enthusiastically answering questions and helping newcomers and guiding them toward the resources. And I just want you all to know that we're working really hard behind the scenes to make these resources really organized and make it so that we have like a great place to send new players where they're going to be able to get every answer to every question. So that big resource is coming. I've been working a lot on it personally, and I don't have all the perfect answers to everything technically. So we're going to have multiple eyes looking at it, people making sure that everything is perfectly accurate and in the simplest way possible. But it's kind of a massive outline that explains everything that you can do. And how to do everything, basically. It's got step-by-step instructions. So that's kind of the, I've been working on that a lot, and I think that that's going to save us all a lot of time and energy.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks for checking in real quick, Chris. I appreciate the heads up. Like we said, we have our DYGYCON coming up on May 22nd, and I think that's going to be another big success. It's great when we get to work with these other other teams and projects, and it helps turn that into promotions that come out down the line.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm looking forward to it, as always.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Kyokis is asking, have there been any recent complaints regarding bronze match liquidity since all the anti-flea measures were put in?
Well, I guess there were some questions about that in this AMA regarding like newer players who just come out of novice getting matched up against higher, people who have higher cards, making it harder for them to win. That's kind of the only issue I've heard about recently, but let me know if there's other ones.
Question, when can we get rewards for diesel pools? Is this sort of Splinterlands related because of the large DEC pool? So Hive Engine has a hard fork scheduled. It's less than 2 weeks away that has rewards for diesel pools is something that the platform can now provide. That doesn't mean that Splinterlands or Hive Engine will automatically provide rewards, but it means that that ability should go live in the next 2 weeks. And then there's probably a little bit of time where we have to do some front-facing tools to create that. So it'll work on the back end, and then it'll need some front-end pieces. But I think all that will be done in May as well. So I can't tell you exactly what will happen with rewards, but I can tell you that the Hive Engine platform and tokens built on Hive Engine will be able to go award tokens to people contributing to diesel pools, and that functionality will exist in May.
And as far as just adding, say, DEC rewards for people who participate in the pool, that's we did that for the Ethereum pools, and then we adjusted it when we added the DAI pool. I also don't want to just go and be like, hey, we're just I don't want to take rewards away from the Ethereum pool, and I don't want to just say, hey, we've decided that we're adding more DEC inflation to incentivize the diesel pool. So I want to wait and see how things go with the built-in reward system that Aggroed just talked about in Hive Engine, and see if we can get some non-DEC rewards that way. And then, look at some other options, with some potentially new things coming out for rewarding that. So that's why we haven't just gone ahead and, been like, here's rewards for that pool. And in the meantime, Splinterlands has just been providing what I think is a decent amount of liquidity for the pool, so players can do their trades and stuff. But that's kind of where we are with that. And, again, I talked about this earlier, but I just want to harp on it again, is that going forward, I'd like it to be the case where we don't say anything about what rewards are for what pools where, and it's more the type of thing where the community can there's maybe submit proposals or whatever and decide. If the community votes to increase dark energy crystal inflation to incentivize another pool or whatever, then they can do that, or they can or whatever it is. So that's overall the system that I'd like to go to at some point in the future.
All right, I think there's a lot going on in the back end here of all the things that we have to do. So I think we're good to close this up a couple minutes early and invite everybody to have a good weekend. And I think the next one of these will be done at a normal time, the 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So let me go send an invite to Matt for that. So Friday the 7th, and that'll be at just 2 p.m. Eastern. Do you know what that is for the
2 p.m. Eastern at 6 p.m. UTC? 1800 UTC.
All right. So we will see you guys next week. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for preloading questions. If you guys want to go put some questions in here, that's great. Please keep the questions really specific to the AMA. I don't want a ton of random discussion in the AMA channel. And thanks, everybody. I'll get this recording up, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for participating in our game. Thanks for letting us do this full time, and really looking forward to what we have coming. There's just a ton of stuff that's been built up, and hopefully in the very distant future, we'll be able to roll it all out. All right. Thanks, guys.